Hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Siddharth Zarabi and you're watching the first episode of the BT Mindrush Pods. These are pods that we hope to do with a difference. And today, kicking off this series in what has been a monumental week for India's civil aviation sector is Vinay Dubey, the founder and Chief Executive Officer of Akasa Air, India's fastest growing airline. Also with us, Sanjeev Krishan, Chairperson of PwC in India, a familiar face on Business Today, someone who brings a lot of deep-seated experience and understanding of Indian industry and is one of India's foremost deal makers in an earlier avatar. But with Vinay, share with our viewers, how was Akasa founded? What was the thought process? How did it really happen? What did it mean for you and all those who decided to back this dream?
Right. So I think, honestly, Akasa was founded on just very, very simple principles. Just the fundamentals. And the fundamentals were India is incredibly underpenetrated as far as aviation is concerned, with this, hard to fathom, unimaginable growth ahead. But yet we had, one, two professionally managed airlines. It was stunning for me, having spent 27 years in U.S. aviation. It was stunning and surprising for me to see that, in this country of 1.4 billion people, that you had one or two professionally run airlines. So for me, this was just, a no-brainer that there is a spot here for us to create a third airline that has this massive runway. And then the only thing was, is this the right time? And there was no better time than COVID to actually start an airline.
Sanjeev, India soon to be a middle income country transitioning towards that kind of economic status, and aviation will continue to be a massive growth driver?
Well, let's be honest. We are aspiring to be the third largest global economy. In purchasing power terms, we already are the third largest. And if we look at what has been said in terms of India's aspiration from a GDP standpoint, $35 trillion by 2047, I think the next 20 years will really define how India captures the imagination of the world. There isn't there isn't a month actually which goes by without a tech entrepreneur visiting India. And India's services capabilities are now well renowned, and we are going beyond just services into R&D, innovation, and so on and so forth. Now, all of that consumerism, much of which is discretionary, is going to get people hopefully a lot more wealthier, and that will cause significant opportunities for the aviation sector. And I don't need necessarily look at it as discretionary, right? Other modes of travel that we have in India, we know that India's road transport and India's rail traffic network is doing exceedingly well, etc. But there is a capacity constraint that will come there, and I think a lot of that will also transition as India becomes more aspirational. I think a lot of that will also mean that a lot of Indians actually are flying. So I do believe that with the next 20 years, with what India seeks to achieve with the next 20 years, and I have no doubt that we will, both with all the investments that we are making, soft infrastructure, hard infrastructure, I have no doubt that Indian consumerism will rise and there will be significant opportunities for businesses like the aviation business.
I don't know how many of you know that India's big bull, and there's never been anyone like him, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Somebody, and while people focus on his wealth, the fact is, in my interactions with him, somebody who had the best sort of eye to pick up winners. And he picked you up, you picked him up. How did that story start? Tell us about that.
I'm first, you're absolutely right. The late, great Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is just an amazing human being, super smart, but my sort of very, very short, compared to many other people, I had a short stint with him, but it was incredibly impactful, and I am ever so grateful. So we were introduced by somebody else, and it took a short amount of time to convince him that this was a good investment, because he was very intuitive. And the part that I didn't need to convince him of, because there was no other sort of India file or India Bhakt or someone who believed in the future of India more than him. So I didn't have to convince him that aviation is going to grow in India. All it took, and it wasn't long, was for him to believe that this was the right time to start the airline, because he believed in the India growth story more than anyone. And then sort of the rest is history. But just very, very fortunate. I mean, there are some things that he wanted us to make sure that we were kind and good to our employees. I mean, these are little things that people don't hear about. But treating our employees with dignity and respect, and making sure that we build an employee-centric company was important to him. Making sure that we were focused on our cost structure, but we didn't lose sight of empathy with our consumers and our travelers was very, very important to him. I mean, this is sort of the ethos with which we live. We're building a company where service excellence and employee centricity are two of our tenets that we live by every single day. So he's continued to have an impact, and I would want to have a shout out also to the rest of the Jhunjhunwala family that stands by us every single day today. I mean, for me, I've just sort of lucked out. It's unbelievable how great they are.
What seems notable about Vinay as a person is his discipline and his focus and the SOPs. And I can try and imagine what it must be sort of attending a meeting with him and the way he would be structuring his day and the day of everyone else who reports to him. Is that the most fundamental attribute that distinguishes a successful entrepreneur with a great idea from those who don't get that kind of success?
Well, I mean, I'll possibly need to spend more time to sort of figure that out, but I can only say that I think humility, being humble, being open, being transparent with your ecosystem, and being honest, as some of those virtues that Vinay spoke about, etc. And particularly his focus, and particularly for airlines like this, where passenger safety is the most important thing. I think these are very big attributes, right? Substance could be important. Form could be important. Form could be important, but substance is the key, is what I would say. And I think that's what I've learned from this discussion. And I'm particularly encouraged, to say that the tagline that we use for our firm possibly is very apt for Vinay as well. Our tagline is that we give dreams to your wings. What am I saying? We give wings to your dreams. And I think that's exactly what Vinay is doing. So our tagline actually works much better for you, Vinay. You're most welcome to borrow it, because you are giving the wings to the dreams of India.
The only way that you can learn, that's going to be my key takeaway from this conversation. Viewers, you might have guessed that by the end of it, there's a mutual admiration society that seems to have developed. I've been a great admirer of Sanjeev, and this is my first formal interaction with Vinay, and I joined that club, if there were one, of a mutual admiration society. And I'm going to make an effort to actually fly your airline. I have missed that a couple of times, but that's my loss, not yours. But viewers, we'll keep coming back with more, people of a very distinct and rare background, a rare breed really, during this Mindrush Pod series. The idea is to offer you perspectives and deep insights on what it really is important to become successful. Vinay, thank you very much. Sanjeev,
thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. With that, it's a wrap. See you very soon. Bye-bye.